here we are, FP3 Japan. Now we'll be going to qualifying after the FP3. But what did we notice during the FP3? Because this is when the team starts showing up what they really are made of for qualifying and likely or possibly know who will win the race. Now Max Verstappen and the Red Bull are looking very, very cool, very, very aggressive with the updates they've brought. And Ferrari too brought upgrades. One of the upgrades they brought, we've seen today, they've reprofiled their rear upper arm to give them more stability. That's anti-dive. And the Ferrari looks balanced. Seriously, that's the most balanced. I've been saying it for the past two races that they are the most balanced car presently now. Red Bull are the most balanced car when coming out of corners, especially the fast or slow corners. They look balanced, they look grippy on the tarmac, unlike the Red Bull last year that looked so balanced. And in the first race and in the testing, the Red Bull looks so balanced. But looking at the Ferrari now, they look so balanced, they look so tight and grippy. But were they hiding something during the FP3? We don't know. Maybe they're on I4 runs or low power mode. We don't know yet. The data should give us that. When we get the data after the qualifying or after the FP3, we should see that. But the Mercedes are looking a little bit tough. They didn't really make any setup change from what they did in FP1, FP2. Now, when asked about what they did to the car, that they're getting at least something cool out of the car, they said they just try to learn from the mistakes they've made and try to make the setup and look at what will happen here, because the car always go away from them. That's why they keep resetting and resetting and resetting till they spoil the whole thing. Now, the major issues the Mercedes team have had is overheating issues, and they've hidden it for a long time. Now, that is one of the reasons why the Lewis Hamilton engine from Australia will not be used again. That engine is poof, cannot be used again. And one of the overheating problems they have is the way they've set up the cooling parts and everything. They cannot take all the heat out from the car, so it's affecting them. So the car keeps overheating because there are a bunch of heat inside the engine cover and the side pods, so they're unable to get it out. So that is really affecting them. So that's why Mercedes have not been able to turn up their PU to get maximum power from their PU, which means they've been running on low power mode since race 1. Mercedes is just a bunch of problem for themselves. Let's hope the new joy they found in the car would last long. But the Red Bull are up and firing. They are doing well, though Max Verstappen and his complaints. Now he's complaining about the car on the steering. The rear of the car still looks a little bit loose. The rear of the Mercedes looks better than the Red Bull, but the Red Bull have confidence in the car with the upgrades they've brought. Their rear is a little bit loose, but they are doing well. The FP3, they came up strong. But looking at the race pace, the Ferrari looks very, very strong. On race pace, they look stronger than the Red Bull, even on the same tire. And we still feel that the Ferrari are on low PU mode. But what will happen in qualifying? Let's say the Ferrari turn up the engine, and in qualifying, they are so close to the Red Bull. It means if they are on race pace, they might give Red Bull a good run for their money. And this race is looking like a 6-way horse race, and possibly 4 teams win. Qualifying, we are looking at saying the Red Bull, possibly Mercedes and Ferrari on the front row, while during the race we are looking at possibly maybe the Ferrari can do something with their race pace and the tire management, because they have good tire management, and win the race, or the McLaren. But the Red Bull still looks strong. But immediately after the qualifying, I'll be able to tell you who looks good to win the race tomorrow. I can tell you from what we are seeing, the Red Bull are strong. The Ferrari is very strong on race pace. I think they're still hiding some things. The Mercedes looks decent. Can they pull off a surprise? The McLaren is also in the mix. They look a little bit away from the Mercedes, even on race pace and in qualifying. Anything can happen in Formula 1. Somebody can blow his engine. Somebody can enter into another person, and a lot of things can happen. So up until qualifying, and I give you my final verdict on what will happen in tomorrow's race. So we go all the way into the qualifying. The qualifying looks a little bit tensy. Not like we really expected. We expected the Ferraris to be close, but I think the Ferraris are far away. That could be a setup thing or the weather thing affecting the Ferraris. But it was a great qualifying. Like I said, not like we expected it to be. The Mercedes showed us their scorecard that they've been making changes to the rear all through the beginning of the season, because they're having rear overheating also. So from engine overheating, which is cooling off the car, to rear overheating. That's why they keep changing setup and they keep losing. Now, when you're having issues with the rear and you keep changing setup and you are losing out, and you guys are a bunch of over 2,000 people, and you can't look at it, okay, this is where we're having our best times. This is where we're having our worst times. I think this guy is good around there. Let's work on this thing around this place and bring upgrades that would make it work for 4 races. I think somebody needs to be slapped in Mercedes, but well, it's Mercedes. Also, the Ferrari complained about the temperature of the track, how it's affecting their race this time. It was Mercedes in Australia, now it's Ferrari in Japan, which means each of these cars have a specific track that they are suited to, but the Red Bull seems like they're suited to all tracks. Like I told you, the Ferrari looks more balanced. The Mercedes looks more balanced here. No porpoising. They look balanced. I think getting the right floor is what they need now. They are getting closer, but getting the right floor. The Suzuka Japanese Grand Prix this weekend has shown that they look like they are on the right direction, but it's just setting themselves up for the task ahead. Now, Suzuka track is a high tire wear track. So it's going to be like 2 or 3 stops, and I'm not sure there will be anyone using soft tires, except they will use soft tires for fastest lap or to start to jump others during the race. But it's looking like a 2-stop to 3-stop race. It depends on the team. In Q1, the Aston Martins are looking cool, but in Q1, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Logan Sargent and Zhou Guanyu were out. Now remember, the 2 Aston Martin are carrying the same upgrade. Somebody needs to tell Lance Stroll that he needs to buckle up. These are other seasons. Well, Q2, we have Daniel Ricciardo. With all the try that he tried, his teammates still knocked him out. So we have Daniel Ricciardo 11th, Nico Hulkenberg, Valtteri Bottas, Alex Albon and Esteban Ocon knocked out in Q2. But Tsunoda gave it all. He tried. With his family out there cheering him, he gave his all, he gave his all, he gave his all. And the McLaren came consistently quick in this. But the race looks like it's a done deal already. It is a Red Bull race. It's the same thing that happened last year. The race after Carlos Sainz beat the Red Bull, Max Verstappen came bashing by to trash them. The qualifying times were alarming, especially in Q3. They were alarming. And drivers like Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton were scratching their head to find the time, as if the clock was input in their head, but they could not find the time. Even on new tires, Lewis Hamilton gave it all, out qualifying his teammates for the first time this season. I think he had a good balance for the car. The car looks cool on him. He's really driving the car as if he's better with it. But the McLaren stole the show. They were up in front again like they did last year with Lando Norris. So we're having Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez with 6 milliseconds separating these two. This is the closest Perez have gotten to his teammate this season or in over 15 races. And Carlos Sainz 4th. That's the first 2 rows with Alonso and Piastri on the 3rd row. Lewis Hamilton and his new teammate in 2025, Charles Leclerc, on the 4th row. And Russell and Tsunoda on the 5th row. But this is going to look very tricky and very good. But I can tell you, what I'm looking at here, except something tragic or drastic happens, it is a Red Bull win already. Can somebody challenge the McLaren to put them out of the podium? We'll see tomorrow. But it looks like they're already having a very good race pace, and the Mercedes and the McLaren. So let's see how they will play the strategy tomorrow to get the victory ahead of McLaren. Else, it is still a Red Bull McLaren tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Love you.